Podcast. It's Turbo Tuesdays, a podcast brought to you by NXTGEN Racing. I'm Jack TM53 Synopsis, otherwise known as Jack for this podcast, and I'm delighted to be able to bring you a new instalment of the series after a few, let's say, issues last week. Joining me, as always, for the podcast, we've got Jordan, otherwise known as JPH99.
Good evening.
Good to have you. Our normal, other regular sort of podcast host, Mikey RK13, otherwise known as Mikey, is unable to make tonight due to personal commitments, so hopefully we'll have him back for next week. But we do have a special guest. He was due to join us last week, but he's with us tonight, which is good to see. And we've got Kev with us.
Good evening.
Good evening to you, Kev, otherwise known as Next Gen Ultra 4, technically speaking, on PSN, but you're racing a few different things at the minute.
Yeah, I've racing in PS4 and PC and running a couple of the leagues as well for both of them.
Yeah, and we're gonna be having a good chat about them tonight, aren't we, Kev? We're gonna have a quick run through. Well, I say quick run through, but a nice run through of how the leagues have gone so far for Assetto Corsa and our Factor 2. And then we're also going to have our usual chat, of course, about how the other leagues are getting on. Now, at the moment, you have to remember that we've had a week out, so we've missed a full week's worth of racing, so bear with us while we try and get up to speed on that one. But a lot of technical difficulties. But, Kev, starting off with everything, I mean, where does your sim racing almost career, so to speak, start? Where does it come from? Where did you first find a love for it?
Many years ago now, going back to early PlayStation 4, I always played on a pad and never had a wheel. I wasn't really in a position to get one. And then it was just recently in the last few months, obviously with lockdown and having that bit extra money, I've saved up, bought a wheel, chair, bit of help from the guys in the community with that. And it's gone from there, really.
Oh, that's good stuff. So, are you relatively new to racing in terms of the leagues, or have you been racing maybe just casually in the past?
It was more casual in the past, obviously being a pad, it's a bit... It's not great, but now I've got the wheel, I'm a lot more involved in it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're all sort of pad to, or rather controller to wheel users in here. I think those that are listening will know, obviously, the trials and tribulations that me and Jordan have gone through league racing on the controller. But it's good to hear, Kev, that you've moved forward like everyone else. It's a natural progression. I mean, for those that I'm curious to see, because obviously me and Jordan know what it's like to transition from controller to wheel. But for those that are watching and listening, what was it like for you going from making that step?
Can I also, before you answer, can I also ask, what were you buttons on pad or were you sticks?
I was sticks on pad.
You were sticks, yeah. Because I was buttons, and Jack knows this. I was buttons on the controller, pretty much.
So how was the transition then, Kev, from controller to wheel for you? Did you find it tough, or?
Yeah, it was very strange. Knew the racing lines, stuff like that, but it was the whole aspect of sort of having to think about what I was doing with my feet at first, but once I got into it and sat down for a good few hours, I've managed to get into the rhythm of it.
Yeah, not bad. For me, I found just a quick note before we go into the leagues. For me, it was sort of getting used to turning the wheel at the angle that it needs to be at, because everyone could wrench a wheel, especially when you're driving a car normally in real life. But on a racing game, it's a little bit more difficult than that. You got to sort of manage the steering angle, get everything sorted on that. So that was the sort of tricky part for me, but got the hang of it quite quickly.
Yeah, I mean, it was really sad, because I found it quite natural when I first took to the wheel. It actually felt quite natural, but it was like but it was more the trust of what I tell it to do is going to be what it does. And you always tend to find, I think you'll agree with me, Jack and Kevin, when you first go onto the wheel, you're actually slower than on the controller, and you start questioning, is this actually the right way?
Yeah, it was definitely the same for me in terms of speed from pad to wheel.
Yeah, it took some time. Project Cars 2 was my first game that I went onto the wheel with, and that was an experience at Donington Park in a little Ginetta GT5 at the time, and we went from there. But yeah, it's good to see, nice to see that, not everyone has obviously a massive history, of course, of playing racing games. And for those that are wondering, we will be having several other guests throughout the throughout the season and the seasons beyond this, of course. And Kev, relatively new, really, so to speak. So that's pretty good to have. So looking at those leagues, we mentioned it earlier, Kev. I mean, what have you been hosting in Next Gen so far this season?
So this season we've got the PlayStation Leagues, which I'm running the Genetta series, which run on a Monday, the GT4 series along with Stu Packham on a Friday. Then we have PC Leagues, which is the ACC GT3 GT4 mixed series on a Thursday, and also the R Factor 2 European Touring Car Championship on a Sunday night.
Right, so a good mix to go through. I know that you're also going to have a little chat about Elliot's leagues that he hosts tonight as well, because I know you've got some form of a good bond with Elliot, so to speak. But let's start off with the leagues that you're hosting at the minute then, Kev. I mean, the first one that you mentioned in terms of the PS4 leagues, so we'll start with whichever one you prefer, actually.
We'll go with the Genetta to start with.
Go with the Genettas then. How's it going in the Genettas?
Genetta's going great. We started the season off with 10 members. We're now up to 14, so it's nice to see over the last couple of weeks that's built up in momentum.
That's really good.
I think a factor in that as well is obviously we've had the Black Friday, and like me and you have done, Jack. The game was fairly cheap for what it can offer. So I think a fair few people have probably bought it, given it a try, and gone, let's give it a try. And the Genetta is a good car to start with as well.
Yeah, they're really good. We've got a good variety of skill level as well in that league, from absolute novices to obviously the likes of Stu Packham, which has been racing for quite a while now.
That's certainly a way of describing Stu Packham.
Yeah.
He'll be laughing to himself on this. But in terms of the championship and everything, from what you've seen, who's leading the way? Who's looking good? Anything to note?
At the minute, we've got RV Motorsports, which, to be honest, is kind of running away with it at the moment. Put in an absolute dominant performance first two rounds. They were both sprint rounds, so it was back-to-back races on that night, and first two rounds he won all 4 races.
Crikey.
And then we went to Suzuka for round 3, which he got 3rd place in. That was a bit of a weird one for everyone, Suzuka, because we had a dry practice, dry quali, and rain from the beginning of the race, and it was thunderstorm.
Ah, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, so there was a bit of panic on the grid from everyone, I'd be guessing.
Oh, that sounds really good. I mean, who won that other race then, in terms of, obviously Wet Weather Maestro?
Who was Wet Weather, it was ADG 123 as his PSN. He's been up in the podium as well the last couple of rounds.
Yeah, he's quite synonymous with GT Sport as well as ADG. He races in the MRC stuff, which I know of. He's very quick driver, ADG. But yeah, I mean, I think I've seen a couple of point of views of the Genetta, and it looks like generally the mid pack is generally quite tight.
Yeah, it's always tight qualifying within that. Everyone's in the identical cars, so it's down to skill and a little bit of setup, because they are a little bit restricted setup wise.
Sounds pretty swish, but with 14 drivers, I mean, what are the lobby sizes, in terms of the max size necessity course? Because I'm not sure yet, I haven't done multiplayer on it.
On PS4, max size is 20, so we're almost full.
That's really good, so good number of spots left for people to take part and get involved.
Yeah, definitely, I would definitely recommend anyone wanting to try it. It's good fun, everyone has a laugh.
And I think that's something to say, isn't it, Jordan, that, we've had a few messages over the last, number of months saying, is there any form of beginner leagues for consoles and that. We don't really have beginner leagues because we tell everyone it doesn't matter if you're at the back of the grid, push yourself and move a bit forward. And the Gianettas on the set of course are probably, you'd argue, the best step to get involved.
It's definitely the closest thing to what people could classify as a beginner league. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, you're better off racing faster people, and as long as you enjoy it, I mean, as long as you just enjoy driving the car and get the experience, especially if you're new to it, then what can possibly go wrong? You can only get faster in reality, which means if you get faster, you'll start picking up places in the mid pack as well. So you've always got to endure like a 2-3 race span of potentially being near the back, but in the long run, you can have a lot of gains as well.
Yeah, sounds like a good whirl of a time. So keep an eye on that one for anyone who's interested, of course. So let's move on to the other PS4 league you've got on the go at the moment, Kev, because I know you've got a number of leagues across the board. So what's the next one?
My league on PS4 will be the GT4.
Okay. Yeah, and there's another one running on PS4 at the moment as well, which is GT3, isn't it?
Which is, Elliot's league.
Elliot's.
How is that going? Because obviously, if it was in an ideal situation, we'd have Elliot in as well, but you had a chance to chat with him?
Yeah, it's going good for him. Glad he's got 2 lobbies worth of drivers. That was a big thing at the beginning of the season. Just due to the amount of sign-ups, we all spoke, and it's like, how do we do this? And Elliot come to the decision of putting in 2 lobbies, qualifier before the season, and split everyone off that way.
Oh, good stuff. And I don't know if you've got access to the championship standings at the moment, but who's looking like the clear favourite at the minute, or if there is a clear favourite?
At the moment, I believe it is Kill City that is leading the way in that championship after a bit of a issue in round 1. I believe he disconnected.
Alright. I'll tell you something, that's a name quite well known in NXTGEN, Kill City. He's been around for quite some time, a good number of seasons now. But obviously the unfortunate thing, Kev, is that we have to go over to our other current man in the lobby with us at the moment, because he'll want to have a chat about his results on Wednesday.
Yeah, he definitely will.
Go on, George, the floor is yours.
Floor is mine, is it? Well, obviously, Paul Ricard on Wednesday last week. It seems like a long time ago now, which is kind of weird. Yeah, it's a good race from the Lobby 2 guys. It was quite a tight quality. I mean, I think I qualified like 4th, about half a second off the pole time. Had got spun round at turn 3, and then from 13th got back up to 3rd and was second fastest on track. I mean, in a Bentley, I can't complain with that. It was quite a good race, and as I say, it's a really good game to get your teeth into. I think, Kevin, I think I was talking to you about it when I've had about probably a day's worth of running on it, and you can get into it quite easily, the cars. And I know you were saying, Jack, the cars are actually quite nice to get used to fairly quickly.
Yeah, they're not difficult at all. I mean, I'm not going to plan on league race this season in a set of cars, due to just time commitments and everything. But I have driven the cars, the GT3 ones, and they're pretty straightforward to get into. I wouldn't say it's a pick up and play, but it's absolutely something that you go, yeah, I can feel what the car's doing. I know exactly what I need from the car, and it's quite nice to drive, I have to say.
But yeah, I was very happy with that result. First ever league race on ACC. I know Kev's going to say it was in lobby 2, which, yeah, granted it was in the slower lobby, but
I wasn't going to say anything.
I would have.
Yeah, Jack definitely would have. But to be fair, in any lobby, just having a podium is just a nice feeling. I think everyone can agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just something nice to have as a little confidence booster, isn't it, really, when you get something like that. So that's Jordan's happy little moment in the sunshine there. And he can
it's Jordan's only happy moment in the sunshine.
So let's look at it. Let's look at for you, Kev. Obviously, you hosted other leagues, but not on console. So we'll move over to PC for the meantime.
No worries, mate. Are we going to ACC?
Whichever one you prefer, bud.
We'll go to the ACC.
This is the GT3 GT4 mixed, isn't it? Which has kind of have become a GT3 league, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, we put the option out there. You can pick either or car, but it seemed everyone wanted to drive the GT3s, so GT4s aren't really in there at the moment. It's something we'll look to put in a little bit better for next season for sure. But this championship is ridiculously close at the moment. Top two are tied in points after 3 rounds, which is good to see. And then we've got third, which is around about 15 points behind them, but from 4th down over, it is under 20 points separating everyone.
And what's the format for the night? Is it 1 race or 2?
It's a bit of both. We've got a mix of sprint, which is a double race event, and a 1 hour endurance.
And no, I think that alternates every week, doesn't it? So you have like one week is sprint, the next endurance, if I'm correct in thinking.
Yeah, it's roughly every other week. It'll alternate between the two, but the format's absolutely amazing because from points wise, the double sprint race nights always have different results in both races, and it shakes up the championship tables.
Yeah, I was going to say, obviously, there's been what three rounds done now.
Yeah, 3
so
rounds.
in essence, you've had five races. So for the points to still be that close after what in essence five races, it's quite good to see, really.
Yeah, it's definitely a close championship.
Oh, it's pretty swish then. By the sounds of it, looks quite good. Now, off the top of your head, I mean, who's leading the way on that one?
At the moment, so we'll go through the point. So
Right.
first and second's tied on 84 points, which is Gaza Williams and Paul Scott.
Well known to NXTGEN, the pair of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, both incredibly fast. And then in third we've got Daniel Blomqvist, who's on 67 points at the moment.
Didn't you relation to Tom Blomqvist? Just out of curiosity, he's a racing driver, Tom Blomqvist.
I'm not certain.
I don't know.
It's quite a unique surname. That's what just thrown me up. I was like, something for you to chase up, bit of homework.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to find out. And then in fourth place we've got Daniel Homer, which actually missed the first round, so he missed out on 2 races worth of points. He's sitting in 4th position with 46 points at the moment. Then just behind him is Andreas Beer with 44 points in 5th.
Sounds close. Feels like a good championship, really, to be honest. And that's on PC, so how many are we getting for the grid on that?
The grid is 17 at the moment.
Still.
So it's quite a good size.
Oh, that's really good, isn't it? That's really good news. So there we go on the GT3, GT4 mixed series. That's going to be quite interesting to see. I say mixed series, I mean GT3 plus 2 GT4 cars, but hopefully we'll get a few more drivers popping into the GT4s over the course of the season. Looking at the other leagues, obviously the one sort of league that's standing out to me on a Sunday, Kev, finally got itself underway.
Yeah, this was very frustrating the last 2 weeks not being able to get this up and running. So we made the decision to go to a rented server for R Factor 2, which we're running European Touring Car Championship on at the moment. So we had our first round on Sunday. Driver feedback was absolutely phenomenal. The guys absolutely loved it.
How many racing in race 1?
There was 12 of us for both races. Second race was a reverse grid as well.
So for effectively a brand new league and a brand new game, effectively is the next gen. That's quite good numbers to kick it off. And Sunday doesn't. In previous years, I think, don't know whether you remember, Jack, but Sunday isn't always the best day for league racing. But it seems to be this season it's kicking off quite nicely.
Yeah, it's sort of settled into a rhythm, hasn't it, on a Sunday, which is quite nice to see. So I'm glad, Kev, for yourself. It's always quite taking a risk, really, setting up a league on a day that isn't normally utilised. But it's really good to hear that the league's got up and running finally after the technical difficulties that you've had. I mean, obviously it's too early to say who's favourite for the championship or anything like that. But who won the lights out?
So Kenneth Andreasen, after the first round, is leading the way with Chris Needham behind him and Jason Haddington, and the points for that will be released either tomorrow or Thursday.
So stay tuned on our social medias, because we always repost the tables out to social media just to give everyone an idea about all the leagues that are going on at the moment. So that'll be really good to get involved with now. Obviously, we can't give you too much of the spotlight in terms of ETCR. We'd like to. We've only got one race or one round rather so far, so it's unfortunate that we can't. But there is one other. I believe there's one other Assetto Corsa championship running, isn't there, on PS4? Is it the
GT4
series on a Friday?
Yeah, the GT4, yeah.
And this is another one that's hosted by Elliot, is it?
It's me and Stu Packham.
You and Stu Packer.
Yeah.
Elliot had a go at me, just for context. Elliot had a go at me 2 weeks ago for not mentioning the right leagues. So, I'm overcompensating this time.
I'm sure he'd be sat at home chuckling away with his whiskey.
Several. So, how's that going then? I mean, obviously for you and Stu hosting that one, how's that working out?
It's going alright. We've got 10 drivers plus a filler. Obviously, he's filling in due to work commitments and stuff like that. So it's totally understandable. But we've had a constant grid. I was very surprised the numbers weren't a little bit higher after the success the Friday had with the original Assetto Corsa.
It's quite a difficult day to set up on a Friday. I've done. This is the third podcast so far, and I've done well not to mention the league that I hosted for so long. So I'm going to try not to refer back to that, because I know people are probably sick and tired of me talking about that league all the time. But it is quite a difficult day to run leagues on. Fridays are quite tricky because it's sort of a normal year. Obviously, a Friday is a Friday. Most people are out and about, but obviously 2020 has been anything but.
Yeah. But I guess the other problem with the GT, well, I say problem, almost setback, is that the GT4 is a DLC car pack. So I'm not everyone's gonna buy that DLC right off the bat. For example, I mean I have, just because I felt like it, but there might be some people who may have bought the game and decide to wait until maybe the Christmas or New Year to get the car packs, because they're not the cheapest of DLCs, but the season pass does help.
Yeah, season pass just sort of rounds it all off, doesn't it? Really, I think it was £20 last I checked. On PS4, I will actually have a check of that whilst we're going through.
I think that is normal price for a season pass.
Yeah, it's normal price.
Yeah. How are we looking in terms of the championship on that one then?
In terms of the championship wise, we've got Bean Flicker and Silver Carter 87 tied on points in first and second at the moment on 48. Then in third and fourth, which is Slayer 72 and NXTGEN Z Leighton. Those are tied. Zlatan, I do apologise. So them two guys are tied for third and fourth on 47 points. So top four separated by 1 point. Which is definitely going to make for a good championship run.
Yeah, that is pretty tight after 33 rounds. I mean, do you find there's a specific GT4 car you use as well? Because I know I noticed in like the GT3 there's a fairly decent mix, but people tend to go with like the Mercs or the Bentleys in Lobby 2, for example, on
Yeah,
the more favourite choices. Is there a particular choice in the GT4?
not particularly. There's a good mix in there. I mean, Bean Flicker drives a BM, Silver Carter drives a Merc, I believe. Slayer drives a Aston Martin, and I have seen a Ginetta and a couple of other ones in there as well. So there's a good mix of cars being used.
Pretty decent.
I mean, that's good. 'Cause I guess it's always like a host's worst nightmare when it turns out one car's the best, so everyone's going to use it. Because if you don't, you're not going to stand much of a chance. So I guess that it's good to see that balance of performance almost.
Yeah, that is very true because it makes for better racing seeing all the different cars, and it's like, oh, what's he doing that I'm not doing, and isn't me set up? Just stuff little things like that. It makes for good racing because then someone can't say, well, the top three's won it because they're all in this car or
Yeah.
that car.
Yeah,
I
I
think it
mean,
helps as well, doesn't it, that Assetto Corsa is so focused on GT cars that they've been able to spend time balancing them, making sure that they're all, they've got their strengths and weaknesses, but you can see that, and there's no one going to gap in terms of making a big gap in the racing.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think because it's more dedicated to that collection of racing, it's got a lot more focus on it physics wise. That I know they're always bringing out balanced performance upgrades as well to keep the cars balanced.
That's good. That's really good. So, well, I mean, that's where we're at in terms of the, for what the sort of leagues that you're sort of involved with, so to speak, Kev. How are you feeling that the season's gone, not just from a host perspective, but also from a driving perspective? How have you found it?
Driving wise, it's a little bit crazy. Honestly, it is because ACC PC is further ahead in updates than PlayStation, so there's slight differences. Like we had a tyre model update a couple of weeks ago on PC, which PlayStation hasn't had yet. So it's different physics. I'm not doing too bad in terms championship wise across all of them that I'm in, but I think next season when I go full PC, you'll see more improvement because I'll be spending more time on specific games.
Yeah. Well, that sounds healthy, doesn't it, Judd?
yeah, and I think we'll be coming back to you later, Kevin, because I believe there's a special event on ACC. But I think we'll come back and round that off for the end for the minute. Where should we go head to next then, Jack? Because we've got a lot to cover.
We do have a lot to cover. Today is Tuesday, so we normally leave that to last. So let's start then with... It's quite complicated, isn't it, actually? Let's start with Monday. Let's start with Monday just gone.
So the Coates versus Newsham Mini Cooper Cup will go for then on Gran Turismo.
Let's start that. Obviously, that's the league that me and Jordan commentate on. Obviously, that's for Max Coates versus Callum Newsham. And this week's racing yesterday race one was absolutely superb.
Yeah.
It was really good, clean racing, lots of wonderful fights through the pack, and Fourfish was putting himself up on the march again.
Yeah, and obviously we went to Kyoto a couple of weeks ago, and Fourfish was on the mark again there. Didn't actually win, but took a fair few bonus points. But yeah, it was interesting, very interesting. Obviously, a couple of weeks ago we also had Rally Matt as a new race winner, which was good to see on the reverse grid. Who else had a decent race? Obviously, Pumpercam Bob had a podium in race 2, and also Bruce Lee Harding also getting a podium at Kyoto in race 1, trying to keep the coach boys a bit of company. But yeah, like you say, Jack, yesterday we went to Sardinia, and it was almost utter chaos, but controlled chaos.
Yeah, race 1 was really good. I think, Four Fish handled it really well, took the pressure on, drove off into the distance. Les did get fastest lap in one of the 2 races, actually.
Race 2.
I know race 2. We did make mention. I think we didn't mention that during one of the races, but he did catch that fastest lap, so it's an extra bonus point for Les. And it seems to be that those 2, although both on the same side for Coates, it is looking like those 2 are looking at the favourites at the moment. Bumper Cam Bob would have been there, but he wasn't feeling particularly hot last night, and that's why he had to jump out in the end, and sadly didn't take part in those 2 races that we have on the Mini Cooper Cup. But I'm hoping he'll be back next week. He said he's just going through a little bit at the minute, but hopefully he'll be back.
Yeah, a bit of a shame, but to be fair, anything can happen in this championship, and if Four Fish and Les have a bad night, then I'd say it's fairly. It could be quite easy to get that gap back down. But I think we have to talk about race 2 though, Jack, because the top 3 put on a hell of a show.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the top 3 again, Les, Four Fish, Bruce Lee Harding, they were fantastic once again. And I looked at it and I thought there were some other really standout drives of the night. Wace in race 1 actually had a really good race. He got sick, but race 2 across the night, really, Dramatic Dave was really good. I was really pleased with his progress for what he's done. He's come a long way. Still time to find, still more experience and battle needed up at the sharp end. But he's coming good, as is a number of other drivers. But like you said, Jordan, those top 3 were fantastic during that race. It was superb.
Yeah.
They were covered by 2-3 tenths, the 3 of them, for most of the race. It was wonderful to commentate on.
And the nature of Sardinia as well, it allowed all these interesting switchbacks to go on, and you could really tell when one of them made that move, whoever was being overtaken didn't try and immediately get back. They kind of slotted back in and thought about the best place to return the favour, as it were, because especially between Bruce and Four Fish at the time, who finished 2nd and 3rd, they couldn't afford to lose any time to Les, because if they lost the time to Les, it's very hard to gain it back.
It's really difficult to try and gain any form of time back, especially around a circuit like that. And you saw the other gaps and fights that were going on during the midfield, which is really good to see, and it's proven to be a competitive championship. I know that me and you, Jordan, have discussed about rebalancing the teams, and I think that's something we will look towards to do over the Christmas period, potentially, just to sort of level things out a little bit. Probably be the best thing to do.
Yeah, and where are we to next week? Can you remember, Jack?
We are off to a race circuit in GC Sport.
I think it's Tsukuba.
Tsukuba race 4, because we're a week behind, aren't we?
Yes. So that's going to be a good, nice, tight, twisty, and possible opportunities for overtaking.
Also on a Monday night that we have is the race room league, which is the WTCR Cup. So we've got the ETCR and the WTCR both competing against one another on different platforms on different days of the week, which is good news. And that seems to be going really well. Lee's been very pleased with the league so far.
It's looking like a tight racing championship as well. I don't think anyone's really getting away. I mean, last season obviously came down to the last round, and I know Lee's quite grateful for Alex Everett, because he's actually commentating and streaming the races this season, and I know he's very grateful for that, because it would be a shame not to have it streamed, because the racing is so close.
It's fantastically close. It's been a really good championship to watch. It's been good to see a number of the, former console players who've moved on to PC who are putting in a really good shift, and it seems to be there's like loads of multiple winners in terms of. I think there's 6 or 7 race winners, isn't there, already in the championship?
Something like that, yeah. But obviously, you have to remember they do 3 races on the night, along with success balanced as well. So that plays a massive factor, and it shows it's keeping the grid tight, exactly how it does in British touring cars, for instance.
Exactly how Lee envisioned it to be. It seems like he's got the format nailed down now, which is really, really good for Lee in terms of being the host for that. Don't know if you've got the championship standings there, Jordan, at all. Give us a whirl if you could.
I'm just having a look.
This would be the perfect time to have some elevator music, but unfortunately, Kev hasn't got the app, so we can't play it.
I've got them in front of me. I'm just adjusting the way they look so I can do that one.
Could always add a random driver into the points just to throw
it
off.
I'm leading, obviously. So, like I say, no one's really running away with it. It's Zira Grunyan. I'm going to apologise if I said that completely wrong. He's on 271 points, with Ben Walker on 260, Lee Horn 249, William Foyle 232. Jamie Dorey, who is defending champion, has had a bit of a rough start by the looks of it. He's on 203, so nearly 70 points behind. But as we know, Jack, this league can turn around on its head.
This league can turn round. You're spot on, especially, is that after 4 races so far? I don't believe that the league is behind, is it at all?
No, that's after 4 rounds, so effectively 12 races. And what we have to bear in mind, what we also have to bear in mind with that is that Lee's actually had to restructure the point system because of the amount of drivers they've got. I mean, they've got 28 listed on the standings here.
Just a quick one, Jordan. Out of my own personal curiosity, if he's listening, where is the man formerly known as NXTGEN Scooby? Where's he currently in the championship?
Mr. Perkis, he is currently 7th in the standings, just behind Fraser Rostance, another NXTGEN name.
Racer, yeah. And how many points are they on?
They are on 182 and 171 respectively.
Well, Jeff, you need to pull your finger out. Couldn't help myself on that one, but no, that's really good. It seems like a good championship to be involved in. Looks like Lee's got himself hooked up as well in terms of running in 3rd place. 28 drivers, that's the most we've ever had off the top of my head, unless the PMR iRacing series we had might have run a few more, didn't it?
Yeah, well that had about 3 tiers worth, I think, possibly even 4.
In terms of original hosting from NXTGEN and no extra impetus, that's got to be the biggest by a mile.
But you could bear in mind, because that's 28 on the list of the tables. Obviously, they don't always have that every week, so I suspect they probably average about anywhere between 17 to 20. I think they tend to average.
In terms of the overall entrance list, the record is actually 39 off the top of my head. So
only you would know that stat.
It's only my league that could get to it. But in any case, it is really good for Lee. I'm pleased to see his leagues took off. I was a little bit concerned in its first season, but he seems to have really struck gold with that. So keep it up, Lee. We'll keep track of his progress on that one.
They head to Autodrom Most for the next week.
I'm trying to think where that is.
I've never heard of it, to be honest, but
I actually do know where that is. Whilst I try and think about where it is, Jordan, do you want to queue it up in terms of the Lamborghini Super Trofeo? Because we didn't get a chance to talk about that on the last podcast, on GT Sport of a Tuesday.
Yeah, they're another league that is a little bit behind at the moment. I'm just seeing if I've got any tables. I don't actually have any tables on me at the moment. I don't know if there's any. I'll have a check if there's anything posted very, very quickly.
I'm just trying to think. Autodromost. Whilst Jordan's thinking about that, I am fairly certain. I think it's in the Czech Republic, off the top of my head. fairly certain of that. I don't know if Kev wants to do a quick Google for us to see if that's true.
Yeah, I can do, mate. What was the track though?
Autodrom Most. I think it's actually just cut. The city's called Most, M-O-S-T.
Yeah, it is Czech Republic, mate.
Czech Republic. Thought it was. It's not just Brno. I always knew there was another little circuit they had. It's not the biggest circuit in the world. It's quite technical, if I remember rightly.
Tom Porter saying it's in the Czech Republic as well.
Good to see you, Tom.
Obviously TP86, who's on PC nowadays. Yeah, I can't see anything unfortunately relating to the Lamborghinis in terms of points. So
that's a shame.
I know they have been running. I'll have a look and see if I can get through the broadcasts this week, and we can have a big update on the next
the Lamborghinis,
podcast.
Because we haven't had the chance to talk about them. They're really good. Now we do have another league on a Tuesday, but obviously we'll come back to that at the end before we talk about the charity events, so to speak. But I'm not going to say any more than that because I'll be stealing Kev's thunder if I do that. So we'll move on to the Thursday leagues, and we've obviously already talked about GT3, GT4 Mix Series on PC for Assetto Corsa. But Jordan, we had the Megans running last Thursday, and the Scirocco's as well.
Yeah, so Megans, obviously Lobby 1, just going back over, obviously they went to Alsace, did the Megans 2 weeks ago, whereby in Lobby 1 Hirokram turned up and walked us into the distance once again. I think, to be fair, most of us made a few mistakes on that. It's an easy circuit to get wrong, and when you do, you lose a lot of time. But it was a good race. Timmy taking second in that race, with P. Gibb taking his first podium of the season, which is a great thing to see. He thoroughly deserves podium. The podiums does P. Gibb. In terms of Lobby 2 for the Megans, around Alsace, it was
really, really good racing. Absolutely superb. D10 Piper and Martin JL09 were effectively just racing all the way through it. Slow Seamus got onto the podium as well, which is good to see. I'm expecting Seamus to be a little bit higher in the championship than what he's at the moment, but really good racing. We had a full lobby for the night as well. It was really good racing, really exciting to watch.
Then obviously this week for the Megans, we went to Tricky Tsukuba, and Jack, it's one of your favourite types of races as well. Top 4 reverse grid, which meant
or in this case top 5.
Top 5, yeah, top 4 for I think the Lobby 1, top 5 for Lobby 2 in the end, where those top guys start at the back of the grid in reverse order. They will get allocated times. Lobby 1, a little bit bumpy, but Jainio came through for the win on that one, with Burnt Fry in second. Burnt Fry, the filler for the season at the moment. Ruddo taking third in that, which is a good drive actually from Ruddo, who is, I believe, in the top 4 reverse grid. So that was a good drive by him. Lobby 2, I'll let you. Do you want to talk about Lobby 2, Jack? Because I know you enjoyed that.
That was absolutely one of the best races I've seen in the Megans in all the 23 races we've done. That was superb. Danzo put it on pole, his first ever pole position in the Megan Trophy, and then he ran wide at the penultimate corner at the hairpin, which allowed Bigsy to run through. Bigsy was leading the race for the first time ever. Looked like he was on his way for a potential first win, but then maybe the pressure got a little bit to him, lost a bit of momentum, and then for a first ever victory went the way of Snav. He started from near the back because of the top 5 reverse grid due to the driver starting points. I was really chuffed for him. He's been involved in every single race, I believe, has Snav in the Megans so far. He's led a race before at Fuji in season 17, but couldn't quite take that first race win, but he did it. He did it in some style. He got the lead, and that was that. Danzo probably cursed himself because of could have been a race win for him. He's definitely been on the ball this season. Danzo, I've been really impressed with his drive, and he came home in second. And Duds took his first ever podium in the McGanns. Only his third race in the series. He was fighting with Martin J09, who had a fantastic run through the back of the pack, but a little bit of contact. And Martin, being a really good showing sportsmanship rather, let Dodge back through to take that third. That was really good to see. Bigsy ended up finishing fifth after all that, but it was a great race, absolutely superb. I'd recommend anyone to go and watch it on YouTube. That will be uploaded onto the NXTGEN official YouTube channel, of course, in the next couple of days or within a week or so, but you can watch it on my channel as well. At the moment it is uploaded currently, but what a race. Absolutely brilliant. I love Lobby 2, so good to commentate on. It's just brilliant. They just fight so hard.
And when you get these top 4 reverse grids, it creates an amazing amount of action, because you can get new winners, and it can really turn the tables on its head in terms of points and that, because obviously if you're at the front and you don't get through the pack and someone who's near you does, that's a lot of points to be lost. So it does shake it up a bit, without a doubt.
Then we had the Scirocco's pretty much
straight
afterwards.
Two weeks ago, Jack, you practically lost your voice because you ended up commentating 3 races.
Yeah.
Because the Scirocco's had a double header at Nürburgring and Alsace, because the Lobby 1 Scirocco's anyway did, because they had technical difficulties from the Yaris update that GT Sport recently had, and Hirakram was very happy because he won both races, taking maximum points. But Brent Fry and Timmy were having unbelievable amounts of battles through those 2 races, and Seamus even got up into 4th place. But for Tsukuba, obviously we had what was meant to be a top 4 reverse grid, and it turned out to be a top 6 reverse grid.
I've never been in a situation before where I've had only 3 drivers go for pole. I mean, Kev, you're listening at the minute. Have you ever had a situation where you've watched just 3 drivers qualifying to try and get pole?
No, I've never had the chance to experience anything like that.
Oh, it's great. I've never seen anything like it. It was literally just a case of watching, effectively, Gibb, Wace, and it was off the top of my head,
D10
it was the third other driver,
Piper.
D10 Piper, indeed it was. Watching those 3, and yeah, it was brilliant. And Gibb got his first pole, which really well played to him. The race sadly didn't work out for him. For anyone who's watched the stream, I'm not going to spoil it in terms of what happened to Gibb, but I'm very annoyed still with what happened. I still feel quite bad for Gibb in terms of the resultant incident that he got involved with. But it was D. Whitehouse who took his first win of the season. Obviously Hirakram not available last week for very good reasons, but we won't mention those. But D. Whitehouse took that race win from Bernd Fry, who got another podium, so he's leading the championship, I think, off the top of my head, Jordan, and the Scirocco's now, because of that 2nd place. And Bruce Lee Harding rounded out the podiums.
Yeah, it was a good race by Bruce in the end.
Obviously yourself, Jordan, you compete in it.
I compete in it, yeah, but I didn't have a good race, to be honest. I couldn't get the car to turn in the way I wanted to.
Oh dear.
But no, it's good fun. I mean, at the end of the day, it's all about the enjoyment, isn't it? And
you didn't even enjoy it.
Well, as I didn't enjoy it, it was hard. It was hard work, but I do enjoy it because there was a good. You always end up in a battle with the Rockets and the McGanns. You're never alone, shall we say? Even when you think you're alone, it's great to race in. I mean, Lobby 1, I've pretty much. I race in Lobby 1, and in reality I don't really practice enough for Lobby 1 pace, not really, but I somehow get some decent results and really enjoy it. It's cracking leagues.
Lobby 2 as well, went to Tsukuba. I would have commentated that over the weekend like I would normally do, but unfortunately I haven't been quite too hot over the weekend. I haven't been feeling too well, so I haven't had the chance to commentate over it. So I believe what I will do is for Lobby 2 for Race 3 and Race 4, I will commentate on both of those on Sunday. I'll do it in one go, upload it on Sunday, it'll be on the channel, and everyone will get to have a double bill of Scirocco racing. I really wish that hadn't worked out the way it did, but sadly it just wasn't well enough to talk. I was lying in bed, feeling very sorry for myself.
I just got a comment from Herocram saying me for a reverse grid win later in the season. Might be a bit of a push, that one.
McGann's or Scirocco's?
Well, I'll take either or, to be fair. But yeah, so that's Thursdays. I think that's
Fridays.
the only news. Yeah, Fridays.
So Fridays we move to 2 sets of leagues. Obviously, Jordan, you commentate on the Focus Cup.
Yeah, let's find the pictures at the start from the first podcast. Yeah, so the Virtual Focus Cup, sponsored by the Focus Cup, with the prize of a drive in a real Focus Cup car. They headed to Lago Maggiore West this last week. 2 weeks ago, they ended up at Fuji, where it was one hell of a race. Absolutely top draw between the top 3, actually top 4 in that race. Between Herocram, Bert Huben, Burnt Fry, and where is he? P. Gibb. There he is. P. Gibb actually missed the first round of Brands Hatch, which hasn't helped him, but he put his season on track. Yeah, Fuji was immense, and it's on my Twitch channel to be swapped over to YouTube during the week. But yeah, it's one of those races that you can't really describe it. They came to the end, covered by less than 0.2 of a second between all 3. Probably less than a tenth, I think, between all 3 as they crossed the line in what was a 3-way drag race to finish off Fuji. Incredible race. And I mean, Jack took 3 races to lose his voice. I almost lost mine in 1. Then we went to Lago Maggiore West, where Herocram continued his winning ways. He managed. It was a really, really interesting race in the end, because it was between Herocram, Philo, Philo didn't really get a good start in reality. So it was between Herocram, Burnt Fry, Bert Huben, and they were battling for the first about 12 to 15 minutes. Those 3 were battling, and then just near the end, Burnt Fry and Bert actually made a couple of mistakes, allowing Herocram to pull away to a gap that no one was going to catch. So he managed to get away and win that. Philo managed to come from about 5th during the race to take away a 2nd place, his first podium of the season, and Burnt Fry taking the 3rd step on the podium after another mistake from Bert. But Herocram currently running away with it, and if it keeps going in this fashion, he's going to have a Focus C being prepped for him. If he keeps going.
Well, I mean, we know how much of an alien he is, so he'll be happy with that.
But long way to go as they head to Suzuka East next week, or this week, shall I say? Which, if you don't get a good qualifying, we all know how difficult it is to overtake around there.
Difficult circuit, difficult time, of course. We're going to move over to, of course, the other league that runs on a Friday, which is for iRacing, of course. That's the Porsche Power Max Racing Cup that we have. I'll let Jordan take a little bit of time just to bring up his tables for what we need to talk about, of course. But it seems to be that a lot of leagues, especially on GT Sport, seem to be taking off quite well. It seems to be going well as a game, which is quite nice to see actually, because it's a couple of years old now.
Yeah, it is good to see, and it's also good to see that there's a few leagues in general having multiple lobbies, which kind of shows the sim. I've got the I've got the latest standings that I can see for the Porsche PMR Cup, which is very interesting indeed. We've only got up to the second round, which is Spa-Francorchamps. Obviously, it's been only a day or so since the race is run. And obviously, any instant reports can get reported in, which can put a delay. But after 2 rounds, after the second round was Spa, they had done Donington on Sunday. It was Josh Malin who is still leading the championship on 77 points, followed by Will Orton, who done GT4 Super Cup, I want to say. Will Orton?
Yes, I believe he did.
He's on 69 points, followed by Bobby Thompson, which I believe is the Bobby Thompson from British Touring Cars.
That's what I believe to be the case.
That's what we believe, yeah. He's on 60 points. Matt Allen, Freddie Hewitt, David Ward, Dave Newsham. We all know Callum's father, who also raced in British Touring Cars for many years. Lee Horn in 8th, Keith Dempsey 9th, Wayne Douglas in 10th. Just going down, your mate Mr. Perkis is in 15th currently. Yeah, it's a fantastic thing. I think Callum Newsham had a bit of a tough weekend, should we say, at Spa. He only managed to get 3 points out of the weekend, but fantastic to see. And they also have 2 GT4 Caymans on the grid, so not as many. Obviously, it's a mixed league of the GT3 Cup car and the Porsche Cayman GT4. And Jamie Nicholson is leading Mergim Aliou at the moment, 37 points to 20, and they head to Daytona Road Course this Sunday.
Interesting to hear. That's really good. So, obviously, looking at that, moving on to Sunday. So, 2 more leagues to run through before we finish off with Kev. Who will talk about his little thing that was going on. I say little, but it's a bit more than little. Obviously, we've got the BMW M4 Fast Star League on a Sunday for GT Sport. Just a quick note about Lobby 2. Didn't run last week. Mikey was a little bit frustrated because he's hosting the league. He messaged a number of people to say, are they racing? He got a few comments to say yes, but there was only 4 people, which he was a little bit... He thought, well, can't able to run this tonight, so let Mark know, sorted it out. And then apparently when the lobby was due to start, there was a lot of people commenting saying, why is this lobby not running? And it's because no one had commented, which is a little bit frustrating. So for those that are taking part, for all the series, if there's a sign-up post, just check it out, message the host, whichever one you prefer, just to make sure that we avoid anything like this in the future.
I believe Lobby 2 will be doing a double header this weekend.
Okay.
A bit like the Scirocco's did. I believe they're doing a double header to make up the week that they have missed. I do have points up to round 2 for that as well. If you would like me to go through them.
Yes, please.
So we don't have any race results because the points on our spreadsheet are combined from both races, because they have 2 10-minute races. And the second one is a reverse grid, but it's P1 Don, and I know P1 Don. I've raced against him. Very, very quick driver, especially in the group cars, shall we call, Group 3 and Group 4. He currently leads the way after 2 rounds. He is on 73 points from TNR Philo. I'm just going to adjust this quickly because I don't want to keep scrolling. Yeah, I can't. Oh, I'm on the phone, so I Can't scroll that fast. Philo is on 66 points. Luke Mitchell on 60. Waze is on 44. TP86 Tom Porter on 43. Luke Doherty on 40. Danzo 39. Moss on 38. Dark Sykes, the host himself, on 35. Duds on 27, joint with Big Z. 1805 23. Roving Island 16, joint with Shadowstalker. Next Gen Cuddles on 10 for that league. So good, 15 drivers, which is good to see in a league. It means it's full, as I know CJW Racing streams that one. I believe he's streaming it now at the moment, live. I know the first one he had to do a post race one due to a different commitment. But I believe they're live on his Twitch, so make sure you follow him to catch all of that action as it happens.
Yeah. So good leagues, good lot of racing. Do sign up. 2 lobbies for the BMW M4 League. Obviously, Mikey RK13, who normally hosts this podcast with us, he will be hosting that. But of course, a little bit of a problem for this last weekend. But it's be ready for this Sunday, so make sure you do take part in that if you're interested. And that's of a Sunday evening. Is that 8 o'clock? Is it?
9 o'clock for the BMWs.
9 o'clock for the BMWs.
But
so
whether they move it forward slightly for lobby 2 for the double header could be a possibility.
And the good thing is, it's a nice way to end the week before you have to go back into work on a Monday. So that's the score with the leagues. So let's round the leagues off with tonight, Jord.
Yeah.
How did it go for you now that you've had time to digest it? I know how it went, but tell everyone else. I
don't know if I've digested it at all, to be honest, mate. It's a bit of a... I would say what Toto Wolff said on the weekend, but I definitely can't say that. If anyone knows what I'm on about, you did watch the F1. No, it's Azerbaijan, Baku. It's not a track I'm great at in the first place. I don't get on with the street circuits of F1 in general. Qualified 5th, which I was happy about. Split the simpletons, the Alphas, which was kind of part of the plan really, because they're ahead of us at the moment, Jack, in teams. And yeah, it was going all right, to be honest. I managed to get up past Lina Greasby or Matty, past Alex, and then I say I got past Alex. Alex binned it in the castle section and caused a massive blockage, and then a safety car came out for it, and Jeff came over the radio, said, "Do you want to change your strategy to pit that lap?" I was like, "Yeah." Didn't check what tyre he was suggesting, and he put me on hards. I was like, "Well done, Jeff, well done." So I've then come back in the next lap to get put on some softs, so I'm on the right tyre, and then the safety car was mental. And when I mean mental, I mean mentally slow.
There's a lot of problems with the safety car, wasn't there, in tonight's race? It did cause a number of glitches, and 3 drivers, myself included, have got penalties, which will be reviewed by, of course, the incident review area that we have at NXTGEN. So they will be sent in, of course. One thing I will say, in terms of from my perspective, qualifying was wet, which none of us looked at. Didn't know that was right. So I was running pretty well in the wet. I was running joint P1, P2 with obviously our new driver who's entered the league, whose PSN name has just escaped my mind.
Kalapat,
that's the one. Or Kalepat, one of the two. He's a very, very good driver. He's shown as much during the 2 races he's done so far. We were running pretty close together, but then I broke my front wing 4 corners from the end, but still qualified second on the grid, which I was quite happy with. Start went well. I mean, I dropped to 3rd off the line, but got back past Carl pretty quickly up to 2nd, and then just stayed on the back of Kalepat for all the race until obviously that safety car came out. We both swapped onto the soft tyres, which was fortunate because I did manage to check what strategy I was moving on to. I ignored Jeff was pleased to change strategies because I didn't want to listen to him because, quite frankly, I'm a better engineer than he is on F1 2020. And yeah, I was fine. I then got hit 4 times by the AI driver behind me, which gave me 4 consecutive 5-second penalties. I've got 20 seconds of penalties. I will be contesting them, of course. It's important that I do. And then the rest of the race ran out. I was behind Kale Pat for a number of laps. He made a little mistake into turn 1. I got past him. And then I drove off. Won the race on track. But I've got those penalties that need to be sent through, so I'll be sending those in. So provisionally, Kale Pat's got the race win, but if the penalties get overturned, it'll be coming my way, which I wasn't expecting. I said to you, didn't I, before the race, Jordan, I'd be lucky to get a podium. So I'm really chuffed. The car felt really nice to drive. I didn't in the first stages when I didn't have any form of penalty, I was keeping up quite nicely with Kale Pat. We were only separated about a second and a half.
Well, I was saying to you, I was saying to you after the race, I should have had a penalty. I should have had a podium, but I made another mistake after the restart, which meant I broke my front wing, and I had to go and change it, which cost me that podium.
I think next season we should be known as front wings, but frontwings.com, powered by PTR.
Provided by.
Yeah, provided by BTR. Actually, that'd be better. It is literally for those that don't know. I've broken this running theme really that I've done. How many races are we into this season? We're on round number 4 now, and we did 5 races last season as part of our sort of half mini championship that we did for Formula 1. And I've broke my front wing 6 times now coming out of the pit lane during practice. I've broken it probably 4 times during the races, maybe 3. Probably 3 times, and Jordan, I know you've broken your front wing a couple of times. We've probably gone through 14 in 9 races, so maybe we should look at that.
Well, I think we're going to get a loyalty bonus from the McLaren factory for making them.
I wonder what the championship's going to look like though, because obviously Lionel Grigsby was leading the championship after his first victory 2 weeks ago. Kale Pat won on his debut last week at Monza, which we didn't get the chance to talk to people about, which was a very good drive. Lionel Grigsby was second, and Jordan, who was third in that race?
I was, yeah. I came through for third. Even though I had different issues in that race. I don't think I've had a race without issues so far. It's not gone well, but it has gone well. It's really weird.
You're sounding a little bit like Sebastian Vettel at the minute, Jordan.
Oh, please don't.
It's not me.
No, I mean, some of it's me because I'm not that fast, but that's not the point.
Doesn't matter. So we'll see how that goes. I'll give you an update. So we'll give you an update, of course, next week about the official results following on from that race, because it could either be divebomb.com with BTR at the top of the championship, or it'll be a lot closer than my mental point tally can figure out. When I say mental, I don't mean as in acting mental, I mean in terms of my mind, trying to calculate it at the minute. It's going to be very close in the championship though. Both teams and drivers. I think Lionel Grigsby's still going to be leading.
I think it'll be close. But to round off the night, Kevin, you've got a special event. I think Elliot that set it up, and I believe you've got something extra to add to it. A special event on ACC coming up at the end of season 19.
Yeah, that's right. So, very close charity to Elliot, I'm sure he won't mind us saying that, is the Brain Tumour charity, which is a UK based charity. So on the 27th of February next year, just after season 19 ends, on PS4 there is a 24-hour race being held at Silverstone, which will be single driver entries. So that's going to be fantastic to see how the drivers manage that, driving on their own over that 24-hour period. And we're also running one on PC. I spoke to Elliot about it, and I says, why don't we run one on same day, same times on PC as well, get a bit more people involved. So for PC, what we're doing is we're doing 50 teams in one server, 30 GT3 slots, and 20 GT4 slots. But there is a development of this, and it'll be posted into the NXTGEN Facebook group once it's all finalised, which should hopefully happen over this weekend coming.
So in terms of the PS4, obviously single entry, because you can't have the teams element effectively. I'm assuming that's why you can't have that team changeover like you can in PC. So how is that going to work? Because obviously some people, for an example, like myself, if I was to take part in it, obviously I can't stay on the wheel all the 24 hours. Because obviously family could be sleeping and stuff like that. And the wheel almost gets turned off. So is that just going to be a case of obviously sitting in the pit lane until you can come back and do it, or?
Yeah, I believe the way Elliot's going to run it is, so if you need to take a break or anything comes up, you sit in the pits, and if you can come back to it, great, continue racing. But I do believe Elliot will be streaming the full 24 hours of him driving the full thing on that night as well.
Because I believe it's on a weekend, isn't it? So it's not going to interfere with anything.
Yeah, it's Saturday starting at 3 PM in the afternoon UK time.
I mean, it's a great charity to have. I mean, do you have any background on the charity at all?
I do know a bit about the charity, to be fair.
Oh,
actually,
there
it is something that I am aware of. It's a wonderful cause, of course, for brain tumour is one of the sort of biggest killers in terms of cancer, effectively, for people under the age of 40. It was effectively formed after the merger of three different research groups at the time. Obviously there were, of course, the Brain Tumour UK, as it was once known, obviously, as you referred to, Kev. Also, it was part of the Samantha Dixon Brain Tumour Trust, as well as the Joseph Foote Trust as well. And for both Samantha and Joseph, sadly they both lost their lives in terms of having brain tumours. Unfortunately, they lost their battle, but obviously the spirit of that goes on. So the three groups merged together, which is really good. They've also merged as well with meningioma as well in the UK. They've been fighting for a number of years. They've got thousands of members involved in it. It's really, really good to see. They've got loads of supporter groups involved as well, which is awesome to see. It's a really good cause, and they've got a really good website that you can go on. Of course, that's obviously, for those that are unaware, that's the braintumorcharity.org that you can go on to on their homepage, and it helps give a lot of support for those who are either suffering with brain tumours or even those who are family members or friends who are affected by someone who might have a brain tumour. It's a really good charity to get involved with. So a little bit of background on them, but really powerful movement group, and obviously it's a really good charity event that we're doing, Kev, and obviously Elliot as well, who's directly involved in that. It's wonderful to be able to support such a charity and such an hopefully what will be an amazing event. I have no idea if anyone heard me and all of that.
Yeah, I heard you, mate. Sorry, my controller just died there. I've just had to put it on charge.
Yeah, everything went very silent for a few seconds there, and I was wondering if I was talking to myself.
I was starting to panic a little bit. I was like, what's going on? I can't hear anything.
Jordan, are you there? You alive? Seems to be everyone just had a little bit of a moment there, really, with this. That was quite peculiar, because it took me a couple of seconds just to load the party, just to check everything was okay. I don't know if Jordan can hear us at the moment. That would be in.
It doesn't appear so, does it?
No, so I mean that sounds really good. I mean, how did that come about, Kev? I mean, in terms of getting in touch, did they contact you? Did you contact them? How did it work?
I'm not exactly sure of the process of how Elliot started it all. It was.
I should always mention as well. It's directly Elliot, of course, who's been involved in this.
Once he obviously mentioned, "Oh, I want to run this charity event," and obviously it's been involved PS4 and PC at the same time. I was like, let's run another on PC, and that's how I got involved in it. Obviously I've reached out to quite a few people over the last week, and
That's good.
we should hopefully have some development on that next week.
Oh, that's really good to see. And how many numbers are you looking at in terms of interest so far of those that have signed up?
I believe Elliot's got between 5 and 10 signed up for the PlayStation 4. At the moment on PC we've got 2 teams signed up, which is 8 drivers in total.
Wow.
So the interest is there. There is a mandatory donation, because obviously this is a charity event, so we're wanting to raise awareness and money. So on PlayStation is £5, and on PC we're running £10 per team.
All right. Okay. So £2.50 per entrant then in that case.
Yeah, roughly. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's really nice to see. It's a good cause to be involved with, of course. And you know, I'm looking forward to seeing how that gets on. And when does that run, Kev?
It's the 27th of February next year, so I believe it's 2 weeks after our season 19 finishes.
2 weeks after the season ends. What a nice way to cap off a season. We used to have, of course, for those that are new and listening, we used to have Race of Winners events. They used to be known as Race of Champions, but then someone decided to come knocking on our admin door, and we had to change it from Race of Champions to Race of Winners. Unfortunately, but that's a really nice way of capping it off, and it's a nice sort of formatted event where those drivers, obviously the glory competing for that and seeing how everybody gets on. Now, before, I don't really know where Jordan has disappeared off to. Has Jordan been able to return? I've sent him a quick message whilst we've been talking, just to see if he's...
Am I here? Oh, I'm back. That's good. That's a bit weird. My microphone was fine, but obviously you couldn't hear me.
No, I couldn't hear a jot, unfortunately.
Oh, that's a bit of a shame. That means you probably didn't hear the fact that I was going through the comments a bit earlier, and Stu Packer asked us to give a shout out to Scott Tretault, I think his name is. I hope you recognise the name, Jack.
Yeah, I do indeed.
Because I think he's going to be. I think he's doing the charity event as well.
Brilliant. Former Group A1 runner as well.
Mm-hmm. And there you go. He's only gone and mentioned it.
I did it once. I'm allowed.
But it is a fantastic cause, and without a doubt, even if you can only do, as Kev says on PS4, even if you can only do 12 hours of the 24, for instance. No, anything really. Yeah, I mean, even if you don't race and just donate almost like an entry donation, even if you don't race, it'd be much appreciated, I'm sure. But I'm looking forward to seeing more of the details coming out as and when they get developed. Because as Kevin knows, I kind of half know what's going on in the background.
Yeah, but I can't really say too much, because obviously I know you've seen the conversation, John, but it's pretty big what it is. If we can
a teaser, one word.
GT3 Pro driver, and I'll leave it at that.
That was more than one word, but never mind.
Well, that's the only way to really sum it up, because the support that we're getting for it is pretty amazing, to be honest.
Awesome. That's really going to be cool. Look forward to that. But I believe, gents, that is it for tonight's podcast.
Yeah, I think that we've spoken about everything.
Obviously, one thing to note is that normally we'd obviously have a little bit of chat about other subjects that have gone on in the world. Just a quick note from us all to probably say that George Russell should have been a Formula 1 race winner this weekend, but hey, life works out in a way that it does. Don't worry, I haven't spoiled the race for you if you haven't watched it already.
I was very angry, put it that way.
Yeah. All I can say is let's just hope Hamilton stays away for the next Grand Prix. So that
And
George
then
can have
who
another
gets a
run.
better immediately, though?
Yeah, yeah. Well, he can get better, just not step in the muck. He doesn't need to. He's already won the title.
Yeah. But that aside and British bias,
And
that is it for this week's podcast.
and the other
So thank
the
you
other
very
thing
much. Oh,
before you
go
go,
on, Jordan.
I don't know if you were watching over the weekend, Jack, but another spoiled Brit hope
Yeah.
was Elfyn Evans in the WRC, who unfortunately slid off on day 2. Technically day 3 of the Rally Monza, and Ogier was handed his 7th WRC crown, which puts him only 2 behind the great Sebastian Loeb.
Yes. There's a reason why us Brits are called plucky. Wonderfully gifted in ability, but always come in bloody second. Right, well, sort of second and maybe not second in some events, but watch them, you'll find out. But for the second attempt, and maybe even a third attempt, it's good night from us all. Thanks very much for tuning into the podcast. Obviously, of course, always do have a look at our Next Gen social media channels. We've got Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Discord as well. We'll be uploading our race videos onto YouTube for I know for a fact mine and Jordan's particular channels will be on there. I know that others will be coming soon, including CJW and potentially Alex Everett as well. So we'll get those uploaded onto the channel. If not in the next couple of weeks, it will certainly be by the end of this season, start of season 20 at the very least. So you can have a look at all the action on there. But for tonight, I want to say first of all, thanks very much for joining us, Kev. Hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, I did. I've enjoyed being on.
Awesome stuff. We'll hopefully have you back in sometime either later on in the season or maybe even next season onwards. But it's good night from you, Kev.
Good night, everyone.
And from, obviously, of course, as always, joining us, the partner in this commentary host / everything series that we've got going on next time, we've got Jordan.
Good night.
And it's good night from me, and wherever you might be in the big wide world, have a good one and stay safe.